Hi everybody, it is Seth, your Mild Mannered Mage, coming at you with another episode of Breaking Boxes. Right now we are in the middle of the Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond, and so today I have for us a set booster box of Lord of the Rings. So we're going to break this bad boy open. Got this recently from my local game store, and so hopefully we're going to find some good stuff in here. Hoping to pull out an Aragorn, maybe a couple of the Gandalfs or the Sarumans. The Sarumans has some really good avatar cards that I think will make some fantastic decks. And also coming with this set booster box, we have our Buy a Box promo, which is a Lorien Brooch, which is a reprint of Trailblazer Boots. So this gives equipped creature non-basic land walk. So if your opponents control a non-basic land, then your equipped creature is unblockable. So that is very nice. I really like the art on this. I think it's pretty fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into this box. All right. Get into here. And these boxes also include a box topper. So let's get in here and see. There's the box topper. So we will save that box topper for last. So there's the box topper. We will just set that right there as a reminder. And then we've got this divided up already into 3 packs. So we got 1 stack right here, 1 stack right here, and here is our last stack. And then we'll put our Trailblazer Boots right here as our first rare card, since this was included in the purchase. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do this in 3 parts like we did our last one. We'll approach this 1 stack at a time and see what sort of good stuff we get. So after the break, we'll be back with our first round of set booster packs. All right, we are back with our first stack of booster packs right here. So let's get into it and see what sort of good stuff we can get. Earlier this week, I posted, and then here is our Spokes cat coming to check out what I'm doing, crawling all over my camera. We have Coraline, who will probably be making an appearance on camera if she doesn't bat these dice off my desk. And there she is. You can see her paws. Blah, blah. Yep, that's right, Coraline. Okay, so first pack, here we go. So we have the art card. We'll put the arts over here. Okay, let's see which way. All right, so these are backwards. So first we have Shortcut to Mushrooms as an enchantment. Enters the battlefield, ring tempts you. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. And that will be a foil card. Trying to make room for everything here. Alright, and then we have Eomer, Marshal of Rohan, 2 red and 2 for a legendary human knight. He has the Hastises. He's a 4/4, and whenever 1 or more other attacking legendary creatures you control die, untap all creatures you control, and there's an additional combat phase. This ability triggers once each turn. So this is a good way to get two combats, at least, out of your attack phase. So we'll put him here with our other rare. Then we've got a Faramir Field Commander. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you Choose a creature other than Faramir Field Commander as your ring bearer. Create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Alright. I'm going to run out of room, I've already determined. So let's make some additional room. Alright. Shire Sheriff, Halfling Soldier, Vigilante. When Shire Sheriff enters the battlefield, you may sack a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until Shire Sheriff leaves the battlefield. We've got Butterbar Bree Innkeeper. At the beginning of your end step, if you don't control a food, create a food token. So kind of keep those food tokens rolling. Rosie Cotton of South Lane. I believe Rosie goes on to marry Samwise at the end of the series. When she enters the battlefield, make a food. When you create a token, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. Alright, and we've got some commons, and a land. Alright, so let's make a little more room here for our cards. I'll put the foil right there. And then these beautiful map full art land cards. I love those. Alright, so that is our first pack. Let's get into the next one. Oh, what is it? Oh, look at that. It's actually got a place where you can be able to open it. Well, that's handy if it works like it's supposed to. Okay, there we go. Well, okay, there we go. And then I still have this little bit here. Get back rid of that. All right, and we have a signed art card, and this is a Saruman. I like that art. That's pretty awesome. All right. And then we've got a mythic rare Galadriel, the Elven Queen. Will of the Council at the beginning of combat on your turn. If another elf entered the battlefield under your control this turn, starting with you, each player votes for Dominion or Guidance. If Dominion gets more votes, the ring tempts you, then you put a 1/1 counter on your ring bearer. If Guidance gets more votes or it's tied, draw a card. So beautiful foiling on that. Very nice. And then we also have the Last War of the Alliance. That's right, Coraline. And Coraline is back to get into the camera shot. So we've got Last War of the Alliance, chapters 1 and 2. Search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Then on chapter 3, creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn, and the ring tempts you. And that is a rare card. Then we've got a common card. Just going to kind of skip over the commons. Then we have the Fool of a Took, Peregrine Took. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional food token are created. So that's kind of fun. You know, you make some tokens and then you get a food. And it doesn't say if that's creature tokens, artifact tokens, or what. So pretty much any token I'm reading this as. So that I think is pretty good. And then we also have Mary. Got them together. Whenever one or more halflings you control attack a player, create a food token. So if you've got both of them out, you know, you attack with some halflings, make a food, and then Perry will make an additional food. We've got Bilbo, Retired Burglar. When he enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. When he deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. That is on flavor, I believe. Rare, common, and common. All right. Thank you for your help, Coraline. Your positioning right there is exactly what I needed. All right, let's try this quick open again. See if we can get there a little easier Apparently I've insulted Coraline and she has left the room now. Maybe she will come back. All right. Okay. There is another fun Sauron card giving out that looks like the 9 rings. We have a token. And then we've got a full art. This looks like the Battle of Clenor Fields, I think. But the full art and in foil. Very nice. We've already seen him. Moria Marauder, 2 red for 1/1 Goblin Warrior, double striking. When a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library and you may play it. Very nice. And we've got Mr. Frodo Baggins. Whenever Frodo or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you. And if Frodo is your ring bearer, it must be blocked if able. And he's a chunky 1/3 hobbit. Those nasty hobbitses. Next, we've got Old Man Willow, which attempted to eat our friends Frodo, Samwise, Merry, and Pippin, but Tom Bombadil saved the day. Old Man Willow is a tree folk legendary. Old Man Willow's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control, so he could get to be a chonky boy. Whenever he attacks, you may sack another creature or token. When you do, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Very nice. Barrow Blade, 1 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets 1/1. Whenever it blocks or becomes blocked, that creature loses all abilities until the end of turn, and it's pay 1 to equip it. And then we've got another art of Frodo, so let's compare these. So, you know, in the books, Frodo is a little bit older. I think he's in his 60s. So I think this is a pretty good representation, but the art on this stylized one, that's very beautiful. I really like that art. But they're both kind of fun cards. And then we've got Gollum, our patient plotter. Leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Pay a black to sack a creature to return Gollum from your graveyard to your hand. I'm sure there's all sorts of fun graveyard shenanigans you can do with Gollum. Alright, and common, and a land. Oh, that, ooh, regular land. I want my full arts. I don't know why they still do the regular land with the full art lands. I mean, if you're going to have these beautiful math lands, you might as well just do that in all the packs. All right. There's our art card, one of the Nazgul. And then our foil. And then we have Schmeagol, Helpful Guide. Halfling Horror. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land. Put that card on the battlefield tapped under your control and the rest into their graveyard. So this lets you, if you can be tempted with the ring, you can steal lands from your opponents, which can be a good thing because then you're denying them their resources, but it can also be a bad thing because you're thinning their deck for them. But the cards in between do go to their graveyard, so, you know, it's kind of a 50-50 on that, so that could be helpful, it could be hurtful. Let's see, that is a common card. The Rise of the Witch King, black and green and 2 for sorcery. Each player sacks a creature. If you sack a creature this way, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you're just going to do the old switcheroo there. Voracious Fellbeast. 2 black and 4 for a Drake Beast. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacks a creature, and then create a food token for each creature sacked this way. And then Shadow Summoning, making 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. Okay. And there is Sam, the true hero of the Lord of the Rings. 1 in white for a flash halfling peasant. When Samwise the Stout-Hearted enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. So it lets you kind of bounce something back after a board wipe or combat. So that's pretty good. The Tale of Tinnavel. 2 white and 3 for a saga. Target creature you control gains indestructible for as long as you control this saga. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then finally, up to 2 creatures you control gain lifelink until the end of turn. So that's pretty good. Alright, and then our common cards. And then a wonderful forest right here. Alright. Where did I put my lands? There they are. Alright, and we still got 5 more packs in this stack, and we are rejoined by Coraline on desk duty with Miss Frizzle. So here's our art card. That looks like Radagast the Brown. And we've got another foil. The Book of Mazubar. Chapter 1, amass 1 orc. Chapter 2, amass 2 orcs. Chapter 3, creatures you control get +1 and +0 and gain menace. Then we've got our Gimli Mournful Avenger. Looks like he's in the Mines of Moria at Balin's tomb, which is a very sad part of the book when they realize Balin has passed. He has indestructible as long as 2 or more creatures died under your control this turn. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Gimli. When this ability resolves for the 3rd time this turn, Gimli fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. We also have a nice stylized art on Rosie Cotton of Southlane. Gift of the Strand. So this looks like when Galadriel gives Gimli some of her hair, 3 strands, which is kind of a fun story. I won't get into the Lord of the Rings lore, otherwise this will be a 5-hour video. But this is an enchantment or flash enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2, and then enchanted creature gets +3/+3. Then we have Gandalf, Friend of the Shire. Flash, blue and 3 for a 2/4 Avatar Wizard. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. When the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, as your ring bearer, draw a card. We also have Elrond, which I said before in a previous video. I feel like it's weird that Elrond is an elf but is blue. If somebody can explain that to me, because I feel like all elves should be green, unless it's because he's more of a water-based elf. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But when Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the 2nd time this ability is resolved this turn, the ring tempts you. Alright, and then got our commons. Lots of, just looking at the names of these commons, there's lots of good flavor in these cards. The Breaking of the Shire, a lot of the creatures that they encounter, and I'm making a mess of these cards. So it is very, like I said, it's a very flavorful set, what they've done. And I'm resuming my mess making. All right, there we go. And then I'll put our non-fun mountain. Come on, Wizards, just make it all full art. That's what the people want for this, is they want the full art lands. Okay, and then we've got for our art, the Beacons of Gondor. Here's the foil. Oh, here is a mythic Kraken, the Watcher in the Water, which lived outside the door in the Mines of Moria. When it enters the battlefield, tapped with 9 stun counters on it. When you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a tentacle creature token. And then whenever a tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. So you can make a bunch of tentacles and have a sack outlet to stun your opponent's creatures so that they don't untap. And then just having a way to remove the stun counters. I think, yeah, you could have some fun things with this. All right, and then we've got another rare card. So this is the Balrog, Durin's Bane, who shall not pass. Avatar Demon, Rakdos in 5. Costs 1 less for each permanent sacked this turn. So if you had some treasures or some food or something that you can sack, or if you got a token outlet that you could sack. And it can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. Makes sense because of Gandalf. When it dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Again, makes sense. See Gandalf. Then we've got some Mirkwood Bats. That's a common. The Horses of Brunin, which I think are the horses that attacked, the water horses that attacked the ring wraiths, not the Nazgul. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand, scry 1, and be tempted by the ring. The Int Drop Basin, which helped Merry and Pippin grow. 2 mana for an artifact. X and tap it. Put a 1/1 counter target. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature with power X. Activate as a sorcery. I'm not 100% thrilled with this. Because, you know, the things that you might want to target, they're going to get bigger and it'll cost more to do it. The long list of the this is full on flavor. Chapters 1 through 6. Note a creature that hasn't been noted for the long list events. When you cast your next creature spell of that type this turn, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. That is hilarious. And then Claiming the Precious. So we've got some more comments right there. There's our fun full art forest. All right, get into this next pack. Here's the ring that has been tempting everybody. When you're tempted, your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. When it attacks, draw a card, then discard. When your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacks it at the end of combat. And when your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. And then there's some additional rules. Our foil is Gimli, the Counter of Kills. Legendary Dwarf Warrior, trample. When a creature an opponent controls dies, Gimli, Counter of Kills, deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. And then there's a Legolas that's also the Counter of Kills. Lost Isle Calling, 1 in blue for an enchantment. Whenever you scry, put a verse counter on Lost Isle Calling. 2 blue and 4, exile it, draw a card for each verse counter on Lost Isle Calling. If it had 7 or more verse counters on it, take an extra turn after this one. Activate only as a sorcery. Well, that's kind of interesting. That'd be good in a draw scry deck. Maybe a mono blue. I built a Jenga Taxis draw. That might be good in because there is a big scrying mechanic in it. Then we've got some better art for Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, and we have now returned to Coraline coming back to help us. She likes to be on camera. Then we have Theoden, King of Rohan. Whenever Theoden, King of Rohan, or another human enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gains double strike. Well, that's pretty good. So you could build a Humans Matter Boros deck and just start giving everything double strike. That's not scary at all. We have the Mouth of Sauron, a human advisor. Demirin 3. When it enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 and amass X orcs, where X is the number of instant or sorcery cards in that player's graveyard. So that's going to make you some big orcs. So I like that. That could be fun. Uglok of the White Hand, legendary orc for Rakdos and 2 for a 3/3. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Uglok of the White Hand. If that creature was a goblin or orc, put 2 1/1 counters on it instead. Let's see, Intish Restoration. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tab, then shuffle. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search for 3 and put them onto the battlefield tab. So that's kind of a, yeah, you're sacking a land, but you could get up to 3 lands off of it for 3 mana. I think that's a fair trade. Quick Beam, the Upstart Int, if it enters or another tree folk enters the battlefield under your control. Come on, Coraline. Yeah, I know. Up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. Alright, and then we have some commons. And a nice shiny land card. That's nice. And then our art card. So no big heaters yet. I'm still would like to see an Aragon. If I can get into this pack. Oh, let's just use that because just make it easier, I guess. It looks like we're going to hit our first list card. And there's our art. Oddly enough, it's a tree folk, I guess, to go with all the ints. For each basic land type among lands you control, Magnagoth has land walk for that type. That is not scary at all. Throw that in a 5-color deck and he can't be blocked whatsoever, and he's a 2/6. That is fun. There's our foil. And we've got another Elrond. This is a rare one. Green and blue for Elrond Master Healing. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on up to X target creatures, where X is the number of cards looked at. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, they may draw a card. Or you may draw a card. So an opponent targets one of your creatures, you get the bonus. Then we've got another Galadriel. This is a different one, I believe. Didn't I have a Galadriel earlier? Yeah, so this is Galadriel of Lothorian. And I'm probably butchering these names, and I apologize if you're a Tolkien scholar watching this video and hearing me do terrible things to these card names. When the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Galadriel of Lothlorien as your ring bearer, scry 3. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If a land card is revealed this way, put it onto the battlefield tapped. So that could be a fun landfall commander or a lands matter deck. You could do some fun things with that, I think. We've got Pippin's Bravery, Landerval, the Horizon Witness, Flying Bird Noble. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, target attacking creature without flying gains flying. So that can give you a way to buff up some of your creatures to give them evasion. Then we got another bird soldier here. When Melindor, Swift Savior, deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target creature you own. Okay, so this is a blinky bird, so it lets you blink some of your stuff. And another bird. This must be the bird pack because everybody knows about the bird because the bird is the word. Guahir, the Wind Lord, white, blue, and 4. Costs 2 less as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. Flying Vigilance, and other birds you control have Vigilance. That's pretty good. And then we get into our commons here. We'd prefer if this was a shiny full art forest in the map, but you know, Wizards, why you gotta throw in those regular basic lands? We want those full arts in this map style that you've shown us. I mean, come on now. All right, so we've got a treasure. We've got our foil. And then we've got the Elven Chorus. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library, and creatures you control have to add 1 of mana of any color. That's pretty awesome. I like that. That could be, you know, commander staple, especially in a creature-heavy deck. Start tapping your creatures for mana. Use it for your tokens. Cast stuff off the top of your library. Yeah, that's going to be a good card. All right, we've seen the Fell Beast. The stern scolding for the fool of a took. This is a serious journey, not a hobbit walking party. Throw yourself in next time, and then you will be of no further usance. Now be quiet. 1 blue, counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. And then my favorite, You Cannot Pass, which in the Fellowship of the Ring, I think it was Ian McKellen messed up the line saying you shall not pass, and it's been forever immortalized, but the line actually is you cannot pass. So for a single white mana, You Cannot Pass will destroy target creature that blocked or was blocked by a legendary creature this turn. And then Lost to Legend. Put target non-land historic permanent on top of its owner's library, 4th from the top. So that can deal with some problems. So we got some good evasion, good creature destruction, blinking. Yeah, like I said, this is a very strong set, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how this can help shape Commander. You know, what cards in it are going to go into, you know, be just Commander staples. All right, and then we see our second list card, and then here is our last art for this block. So a Crumbling Colossus. Trample. When it attacks, sack it at the end of combat for a 5 mana golem. Oh, okay. So we've got Isildur's Fateful Strike, legendary instant, destroy target creature, and you can see Isildur is striking Sauron. Destroy target creature. If its controller has more than 4 cards in hand, they exile cards from their hand equal to the difference. So not only are you destroying a creature, you're also making them discard down to 4 cards, which I think is, yeah, that's really good for 4 mana. And we have many partings. Grimo Wormtongue from the 2 towers. Your opponents can't gain life. Tap him to sack another creature. Target player loses 1 life. If it was a legendary creature, then you amass orcs 2. Lorith of the Healing House for a human cleric. Tap her to untap another target permanent, or tap her to untap 2 other legendary creatures. So you could do some good tapping shenanigans with her. Then we've got Eomer of the Riddlemark, legendary human knight, hasty boy. When he attacks, if you control a creature with greater power among creatures on the battlefield, you make a white human soldier creature token. And then is that it? Common. I'm trying to look at the camera through cat, and that is not working too well. And common. So that's it. That is everything for this block of cards. So, you know, had some pretty okay things so far, I think. Still not seeing the legendaries or the mythics that we were wanting. There's Coraline being super cute, wanting to rub up on the camera. But we still have, I believe it is 16 packs to go. So we'll see what sort of good stuff we get next. So after the break, we will be back with stack number 2. Hi everybody, and we are back with part 2 of our Lord of the Rings Universes Beyond. I don't know why I don't want to say multiverse, but I guess Marvel is getting to me with the multiverse and DC. All right, so let's get into this second grouping of 8 and see what sort of good stuff we've got. Still looking for an Aragon, maybe a couple of the Sarumans. All right, and then here is our art card. And there is Frizzle with the barking. And all right, so first up, we have Frizzle. That's enough. Our Faramir Field Commander as our foil at the beginning of your end step. If a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Whenever the ring hits you, if you choose a creature other than Faramir as your ring bearer, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Oh, and then we have a Radagast the Brown, mythic rare, 2 green and 2 for an Avatar wizard. Let's see, let's take a look at this. Whenever Radagast the Brown or another non-creature enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may reveal a creature card that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control from among those cards and put it into your hand. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So you could run a bunch of different creature types in here. Mono green, and be able to go fishing and get things to refill your hand. So that's pretty nice. Maybe I'll run that as my commander for the kind of semi-popper commander tournament that we're going to be running. Foray of Orcs. Amass 2 Orcs. When you do Foray of Orcs, deals X damage to target creature an opponent controls, where X is the amassed army's power. That's pretty nice. Then we have Erkenbrand, Lord of Westfold. When he or another human enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So that's a good buffer for your human creatures. Prince Imrahil the Fair. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token for a blue and white. Strider before he is Aragon. Green and red and 2. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then if that creature has power 4 or greater, it gains first strike. So a good way to buff your creatures with the landfall. And then we move into our commons. And then a Plain Jane Foil Mountain. Still would rather have had the other mountain cards with the map art instead of that. All right, get into this next pack. Another ring card and our art. Our foil is the Nimble Hobbit. And then we have the Call of Care Andros for an enchantment. When a creature an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, amass X, Orcs X, where X is the excess damage. Okay, so you overkills a creature, and then you get to make an orc army. So that's pretty nice. I kind of like that. Gothmog the Morgul Lieutenant. Human Soldier. When it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 1. Creature or tokens you control have Death Touch. Gorbag of Menace Morgul. 1 and a black for an Orc Soldier. When a Goblin or Orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sack it. If you do, draw a card or make a treasure. That's pretty good. Be able to get some gain off of that. Saruman's Trickery, 2 blue and 1 to counter target spell, and you get to amass 1 Orcs. That's a good counter spell. Then we have Saruman the White, blue and 4, ward 2, excuse me. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, amass Orcs 2. So you get to create a Orc army and put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So I kind of like that. I think we've already seen Aowen, Lady of Rohan. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains your choice of First Strike or Vigilance. If it's equipped, it gains both until end of turn. And equip abilities you activate cost 1 less. Reprieve, return target spell to its owner's hand to draw a card. And then we move into our commons. And again, a regular old swamp that I am not happy with. I feel like these should all be those map arts. Alright, and then here is our art card. That looks like the Fall of Gandalf. The Great Hall of the Citadel is our foil. Got another Faramir, Prince of Ithilien. At the beginning of your end step, choose an opponent. At the beginning of that player's next end step, you draw a card. If they didn't attack you that turn otherwise, create 3/1/1 white human soldier creature tokens. Then we've got an Oliphant. That's a common. Grishna, Brash Instigator. When it enters the battlefield, amass 2 Orcs. Then, when you do, until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap that creature. It gains the Hastises. So lets you steal some things. I like it. Grond the Gatebreaker. Trample as long as it's your turn and you control an army. It is an artifact creature with crew 3. Then we've got Faramir the Field Commander. I believe we've already seen that one. The Duodane Rangers. Landfall when a land enters the battlefield under your controller. If you don't control a ring bearer, the ring tempts you. Shortcut to Mushrooms we've seen. And then we get into our commons. And then there's a foil island map land. That's what we want to see. Alright. Then our art, our token, our foil. And then we've got another Balrog. I believe we've already seen this card. Yep. We got the alt art of it, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so we've already talked about this one. Gandalf the Westward Voyager. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets. And if it's a permanent spell, it becomes a token. That is pretty nice. And that's from one of the commander decks. And then we've got another Golem. Ringside Fiery Inscription. I don't think we've seen this one yet. When Fiery Inscription enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Fiery Inscription deals 2 damage to each opponent. Bitter Downfall, the Fall of Boromir. This spell costs 3 less to cast. If it targets a creature that was dealt damage this turn, destroy target creature. Its controller loses 2 life. And then we move into commons, and we get another swamp. Art that looks like an int to me. Miner's Bane gets +1/+0 and gains trample until it ends a turn. So this is another list card. And then the Nasty End. As an additional cost to this spell, and it costs black and 1. Sack a creature, draw 2 cards. If the sacked creatures were legendary, draw 3 instead. Or sack a creature, if it was legendary, you draw 3. Alright, and that is a common. That's a foil. So we'll put that up there. Saruman's Ransom. Choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put one in your hand and the other into your graveyard. The ring tempts you. That's kind of nice for Dimir. We've got another Rivendell. Talked about it in a previous video. Ranger's Firebrand deals 2 damage to any target. A lot of these we're starting to now get into our repeats. Gandalf's Sanction, is it 1? Gandalf's Sanction deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of instant and sorceries in your graveyard. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So that do some damage. And then we get into our commons. And we're back to regular lands. Come on, Wizards. We know this should all have just been map lands. I know it. My viewers know it. You know it. All right. There's our art of Gandalf. Another list card, Akina, the Temple of the Grandfathers. Not heard of this one. Tap it to add a green, and it doesn't come in tap. That's nice. And then pay a green to tap it. Target legendary creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So that's a good way to give it a little boost. If it's your commander, that's a little more excess damage for commander damage. So that's pretty nice. The Breaking of our Fellowship is our foil. Pippin, Guard of the Citadel, Vigilance Ward 1 for a white-blue halfling soldier. Tapping another target you control gains protection from the card type of your choice until end of turn. I do swear fealty to Gondor until my lord release me or death take me. Another Samwise the Stout-Hearted. Looks like he's carrying Frodo in that one. We've seen the Fire Leaper. Fear Fire Foes. Red and X. Damage can be prevented this turn. Fear Fire Foes deals X damage to target creature and 1 damage to each other creature with the same controller. That's funny. So that would be a good field wipe for an Elves deck. Foray of Orcs. Amass 2 Orcs. When you do, Foray of Orcs deals X damage to target creature and opponent controls, where X is the massed army's power. Pretty nice. And we're about to have a return visit of Coraline. Council's Deliberation. Blue and 1 to draw a card. If you scry, whenever you scry, if you control an island, you may exile Council's Deliberation from your graveyard to draw a card. That's interesting. So you get 2 for the price of 1. The Stone of Eric, legendary artifact. If a creature an opponent's control would die, exile it instead. Pay 2 to sack it. Exile target player's graveyard to draw a card. All right. And then we have our map land. All right, we've got 4 more in this stack. Let's hope we get some good stuff out of it. There's our art, our token. Ooh, haven't seen this one, and it's a foil rare. Mary Esquire of the Rohan, haste 2/2 for a red-white. Has first strike as long as it's equipped. Whenever you attack with Mary and another legendary creature, you get to draw a card. I like that. That's good. That might be a good solid commander. Get it out turn 2 and start swinging. Oh, here we go. Hue of the Entwood, a mythic rare. Sack any number of lands. Reveal the top X card of your library, where X is the number of lands sacked this way. Choose any number of artifact and or land cards revealed this way. Put all non-land cards chosen this way onto the battlefield. Then put all land cards chosen this way onto the battlefield tapped. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. So you get artifacts and lands for 5 mana, sacking however many lands you want. That's a green what is it, Scape Shift? So that is fantastic. I like that. Lots of good utility there for that card. March of the Blackgate. When it enters the battlefield and whenever an army you control attacks, amass 1 orc. Pretty good. The Bath Song, chapters 1 and 2. Draw 2, then discard. Chapter 3, shuffle any number of target cards from your graveyard into your library and add 2 blue mana. That's pretty cool. Then we have the Grey Havens. Enters the battlefield, scry 1. Tap it to add a colorless, and tap it to add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures. So a lot of legendary theme in this deck. Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer. Whenever you scry, choose 1, and Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer, gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Must be blocked this turn if able. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature this combat. All right. And those are all commons. All right, 2 packs remaining after this one. And then we still have our box topper. The Realms and Relic box topper. Our art card. Samwise after the event. Gimli, Counter of Kills. We've already seen him. And then we have Press the Enemy. Return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. So that's nice. You get to bounce something and then get something for free. And then we also have the Ring Wraiths. A Wraith Knight. When Ring Wraiths enter the battlefield, target creature gets an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. That creature, if that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. When the ring tempts you, return Ring Wraiths from your graveyard to your hand. I like that. Lots of effects that you can do with this. You know, get out a scary or kill a scary legendary creature, hit an opponent for 3 life, plus be able to bounce this back. That's really nice. I like that. Then we have Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, Arwen, Undamel, green and blue for an Elf Noble. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, and you can pay 6 to scry. Celeborn the Wise, I believe we've already seen him. The Mirror of Galadriel. 2 mana for a legendary artifact. Pay 5 and tap it to scry 1, then draw a card. Costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So that's a nice Legendary Matters kind of artifact. Escape from Orthanic. Let's see, 1 white. Target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying. That's a good way to give something a fat butt and swing in. Oh, actually, these are all commons. Okay, that's still an interesting common. All right, 2 more. Here is our, there's Mount Doom. A token. foil is Esquire of the King. And then a Lobelia Saxville Bagginses. Black and 2 for Flash Menache. When she enters the battlefield, exile target creature from an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, and then create X treasure tokens where X is the exiled card's power. So that's a good way to do some fast ramp, and it's only 3 mana. Alright, Nasty End. And a lot of these we've now, I think we're kind of getting into that saturation point where we've seen a lot of these already. Now, I don't think we've seen Friendly Rivalry. For Gruul, target creature you control and up to one other target legendary creature you control each deal damage equal to their power to target creature you don't control. 42, Master Legolas. All right. And the last pack from this box. All right, let's see what we got. If it's anything good. All right, here is our art. Tom Bombadil. And then the ring. The weird mono blue Elrond in foil. And then we have Minas Tirith. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Add 1 white. Pay 1 and a white to draw a card. Activate only if you attack with 2 or more creatures this turn. And then we've got the Nazgul. First Nazgul that I pulled. I did talk to my buddy that was looking for these, and he actually pulled all 9 of them in his boxes. So, Wraith Knight, Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. When the ring tempts you, put a 1/1 counter on each Wraith you control. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. Peregrine Took. Gimli. Rising of the Day. Creatures you control have haste. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0. I do like that. We've seen Shadowfax. And then here are our last commons for this set. All right. Well, that is another set of cards down. We have one more stack to go, plus our box topper. And also coming soon, I got one more Arena Code for y'all. So keep watching, and we will see you after the next break. And we are back with our third and final grouping of Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. These are all the packs that I've got remaining, and we're going to bust into them and see if we can't hit those cards we've been looking for. So let's just jump right in and see what we can find. I'm going to adjust this up just a little bit. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. All right, and here is our art card. Nice imagery of Gandalf smoking a pipe. We've got another list card here. Stormscape Battle Mage. Blue and 2, kicker white, or 2 in a black. When it comes into play, if you paid the white, you gain 3. If you pay the black and 2, destroy target non-black creature that can't be regenerated. And our foil card is surrounded by orcs. And we've got another Delighted Halfling. So this is the third Delighted Halfling that I've pulled out of my packs so far. 2 in this art and 1 in the fancy art. And then we've got another Rosie. I think this is the first time we've seen Denethor, Ruling Steward. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token, pay 2 and sack another creature. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So that would be good in a human soldier, or probably a human deck, white-black. That would be good. Then we have the Oath of the Grey Host, It is a saga. Chapter 1, you and target opponent each create a food token. Chapter 2, each opponent loses 3 life, create a treasure. And Chapter 3, create 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. And then we've got Bill Fernie, Bree Swindler. 1 and a blue. Whenever Bill Fernie, Bree Swindler becomes blocked, choose 1. Create a treasure token, or target opponent gains control of target horse you control. If they do, remove Bill Fernie from combat and create 3 treasure tokens. So that'd be kind of a weird horse deck. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I don't know of many horses in blue, so I don't know. And there's our favorite pony, Bill, white and 3 for a legendary creature horse. When he enters the battlefield, create 2 food tokens, sack a food until end of turn. Target creature you control assigns combat damage based off of their toughness rather than their power. So this would be good in a big butts deck. Just start throwing some booty around and smacking people. And then we get into our commons. There's our commons. There's our non-fun land. Want those map lands. All right, let's see what we got. And we've got another list card. An ancient spider, again on theme because of Shelob. Green and white and 2, first strike, may block as though it had flying. So this must be before they came up with the keyword reach. And we've got a generous int for our foil. And then the Rangers of Ithilien, 2 blue and 2, vigilance 3/3. Let's see. When the Rangers of Ithilien enter the battlefield, gain control of up to 1 target creature with lesser power for as long as you control the Rangers. Then the ring tempts you, so that'd be a good way to kind of steal some of your opponent's stuff. And then if you can give them some evasion, maybe some hexproof or shroud, so that you can keep what you took. Here we've got our Lash of Balrog, Stew the Conies. We've already seen this card. We've seen the Shire Sheriff. We've seen Butterbur. And then we get into our commons. Oh, and I forgot to pull the art card out early. So here is the art card. Our art card looks like the Witch King, I believe, riding into battle. Then we've got a tentacle. Our foil is Prince Imahir the Fair, and we've already seen the prince. And then we've got a Gandalf the Grey. Is it 3? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose 1 that hasn't been chosen. You may tap or untap target permanent. Gandalf the Grey deals 3 damage to each opponent. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then finally put Gandalf on top of its owner's library. So then that way you can cycle through and restart the process. That's good. And that looks like he's in maybe the Mines of Moria, is what it looks like to me. Be great in it. Is it Spellslinger deck? Let's see. Gimli, Old Man Willow, Rise of the Witch King, the Voracious Fellbeast, Rosie of South Cotton Lane, Peregrine Took. Yeah, all these we've seen. And then a nice foil swamp in the land art that we want to see. None of that basic BS. All right. And our art card. There we go. Human Soldier. Here's my tokens. There they are. Okay, and then our foil, the Gift of Strands. Seen that already. Another Rivendell. This is like my 4th Rivendell that I've pulled. Mirkwood Bats. That is a common. We've seen Mary. We've seen the Bilbo. Barrow Blade. Yep, we've seen Barrow Blade. And then we get into our commons. And then a basic forest, not the fun art. All right. There we go. Oh, there's Shelob. An Orc Army. All right, our foil is a Hithlane Knots. Tap target creature, scry 1, draw a card. Oh, I've not seen this card. Gloin, who is Gimli's father, who traveled with Bilbo. Red and 2, whenever you cast a historic spell, create a treasure token. This ability triggers once each turn. Sack a creature to goad target creature. So that's kind of fun. You know, goad your opponent's creatures so that they don't swing at you. Have everybody hit everybody else. I like it. Oh, and then here we have the Witch King of Angmar. I don't think we have seen this card yet. Mythic Rare, 2 black and 3 for Flying Wraith Noble. Whenever one or more creatures deals combat damage to you, each opponent sacks a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. So it's almost like a Phyrexian Obliterator. Discard a card. Witch King of Angmar gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. So that's pretty nice. I like that. I'm wondering if this is what my buddy built his Ring Wraith deck out of. We'll find out. All right, then we've got Prince Imahir the Fair, Frodo, Gollum, Precious, Sam the Stout-Hearted, and then we get into our commons, and then we've got our land. All right, after this pack, we got 4 more to go. Okay, and here is our art card. Human Soldier. Nice foil here on Gandalf, Friend of the Shire. And then we have some Orcish Bowmasters. Black and 1 for a 1/1 flash creature. Enters the battlefield and whenever an opponent draws a card except the first one they draw in each of their turns, it does 1 damage to any target. Then you can amass 1 orc. So if you're up against a draw deck, this could really get big. Or you could make some big orc armies. So that's I like that. That's pretty good. Then we've got the Oliphant, Shadow Summons, Theoden, the King of Rohan, the Mouth of Sauron, Gifts of Strands, the Tales of Tinnavel, and then we get into our commons. Ooh, this one's curled under. Notice that there's a big gap up here at the top. I guess to kind of help you get the packs open. All right, there's Saruman of many colors. An Orc Army. Improvised Club is our foil in this pack. I don't think we've seen King of the Oathbreakers. Flying 3/3 Spirit Noble. Whenever King of the Oathbreakers or another spirit you control becomes the target of spell, it phases out. Whenever King of the Oathbreakers or another spirit you control phases in, create a tapped 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So you could do this as a flicker deck, targeting the King of the Oathbreakers and any other spirits that you control to make a bunch of spirit tokens. That's pretty fun. That could be a fun deck. Then we have Quick Beam, another Gandalf, another Elrond. The Horses of the Brunnen. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. Scry 1 and then the ring tempts you. And then we jump into our commons. All right, after this pack, we've got 2 more. So we're getting to the bottom of this box. I appreciate y'all watching this video with me. Hope you've seen some fun cards. You can make fun of my pronunciations of all the cards. Ooh, there's Goldberry. So far, I think I was pulling my pre-release kits. I pulled 3 Goldberries, 2 regular and a foil. So that apparently I meant to do something with Goldberry. And then there's our Orc Army. Our foil for this one is the Pelargir Survivor. Oh, and here we go. We've got a One Ring, not the serialized one. Unfortunately, I can't afford the packs for that the serialized one might appear in. So I think the bounty the last time I saw it was at 2 mil. Man, imagine if you did pull that. You'd be set. But we do have the One Ring here, 4 mana for a legendary mythic rare. Indestructible. When the One Ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. Tap it to put a burden counter on the ring. Then draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. That's nice, and if you could have a way to negate the damage, because you know it could get up there pretty fast, and you don't want to kill yourself like with a mana crypt. Then we've got another Lash of the Balrog. The Int Drop Basin, the long list of the Ints, Intis Restoration, and then we get into our commons. All right, and then we've got our forest. All right, 2 packs remaining. So how have your pulls been going? Have you gotten everything that you're looking for? What's been your favorite thing so far from this set? All right. The Fall of Gandalf. All right, we've got an Upstart Int, the Quick Beam again, as our foil. Oh, here we go. Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire. So in the books, Saruman doesn't die at the end of the Two Towers, beginning of the Return of the King. Instead, he overruns the Shire and turns it into a city and is just terrible. It's kind of a weird ending to the book. I don't know. I don't know if it really added anything to the story for me, other than the hobbits retaking the Shire. But Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire, which is Saruman, a legendary creature avatar rogue. Activate abilities of your lands your opponent's control can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Sharky has all activated abilities of lands your opponents control except mana abilities. Mana of any type can be spent to activate Sharky's abilities. So you can still basically turn off your opponent's lands in terms of abilities, like War Room or Rivendell, and then he gets those abilities, and you can spend mana of any type to activate those abilities. So that's kind of fun. Rising of the Day, Uglock, Gorbag, Sauron's Trickery, Quick Beam, Landreval, and then we get into our commons. All right, here it is, the last pack of the box. What sort of goodness are we going to see in it? And don't forget, we still have our box topper, the Realms and the Relics. It's just been sitting there in the corner. What could it be? All right. So here is our art card. We have a Tentacle. Our foil. And we've got the Horn of Gondor. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Pay 3 and tap it. Create X 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. Again, human deck for the win on this. Keep pumping out those humans. Oh, and then we've got another one, the Flame of Anor, which I believe is what Gandalf uses, is the spell that Gandalf uses against the Balrog. I think you can see part of his whip right here. Instant, choose one. If you control a wizard, you may choose 2 instead. Target player draws 2 cards. Destroy target artifact, or the Flame of Anor deals 5 damage to target creature. Then the Nasty End. Trying to get these separated back out again. Saruman the White, Melindor, Gwahir, Stern Scolding, and then we get into our commons. All right, so that is all of the main packs of this set. We will take one more quick break, and then we will open our box topper. So let's see what sort of goodness we can get out of there. So we'll see you after the break. All right, and we are back with our last section of this box opening, and that is the Realms and Relics box topper. Would really like to hit the party tree, which is the Great Hinge. I think that would be a fantastic pull off of this. I'd also like to see, I can't remember what they are calling it, but I'd like to see the Ancient Tomb in here. So let's see what we get. Oh, and then they've got it glue dotted in. All right, so we'll just set that right there. So here it is. I always get nervous opening these because there's only the one card in here, and so it's super flimsy and can be hard to get. But it looks like, okay, good. They've put the little tear spot here, so let's shake that card down and get into it. Okay, so whatever it is a 2 cost, so it's not the party tree, it's not the Ancient Tomb. Could this be the Sword of the Animus? There it is. Yep, I was right. Sword of the Animus, the Ring of Barahir. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle equipped to. My heart rejoices for you. My heart rejoices. For you, Estelle, shall be among the great whose valor will destroy the shadow. And that was Arwen. So fun art on that. Looks like Arwen and Aragon holding hands. All right. Well, I appreciate all of y'all coming with me on this journey of opening Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. This set box, and as a bonus for those, where did it go? I had a card for y'all, a and I cannot find it. So we're going to take a quick break while I locate the code for you for Magic Arena, and then I will share it momentarily. Whew, I got scared there for a minute. I could not find the code, and it ended up getting mixed in with the tokens. So thank y'all again for hanging out with me as I open these packs. And here is a code to Magic Arena. So feel free to cash this in. So we'll leave it up here for just a couple of seconds so you can grab the code. Again, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to leave a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe. I'll be filming, hopefully this week, some more deck tech videos for our War Council series. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Mild Mannered Mage to see all the different happenings that I've got going on in the Magic community here in my hometown, and all the different other fun Magic things that I do. So in the meantime, this is Seth, your Mild Mannered Mage, hoping you all have a fantastic pre-release weekend, and we'll see you next time.